Ooh, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Pedro and Hannibal special Monday edition to the channel. Right now, we're checking out to see. Actually, let me check this real quick. The Giants playing the Cowboys right now, and it looks like the Giants are going to be, instead of 3-0, 2-1. To I'm sure my partner's delight, Pedro. How are you doing this evening?
Well, I'm doing good. Bears coming off a W. Looks like Giants are going to come off a L. So I'm pretty happy.
Yeah, I'm the opposite of that. uh, it was a pretty boring game for the first half. Not there was a bunch of field goals being thrown around, and then the offense started heating up. Dallas scored 7, Giants scored 10, and then at this point, as we are about less than 6 minutes left in the game, the Dallas Cowboys scored 10 points. So the running game, we couldn't, Giants couldn't stop the running game. Daniel Jones is throwing for under 200 yards. So that's a recipe for a big fat L. So that's where we are right now. And who knows how far this will go. At least the Giants, and I think even for your Bears, they may not be that good, but at least if they can be competitive, be watchable, and not embarrassing, I will take that.
Yeah, it's a really positive way of looking at it. I think that our teams are very similar in ways, and I think each team's going to be it's going to be a struggle to get to like 8 wins total. I think our teams might hover around 500 when it's all said and done.
Yeah.
But Daniel Jones, man, he leaves a lot to the imagination. I can say the same with Justin Fields. I see flashes of like, ooh, little baby Patrick Mahomes. He's making some plays, and then he throws a couple picks. It's like, oh, but our defense, our Bears defense has been pretty good this year when it needed to be. And we have one of the most underrated linebackers in the NFL. Roquan Smith is a tackle machine. He was doing it last year, and that interception. I mean, with a minute left, was great. I mean, it was highlight of my weekend. So
nice. Yeah, Giants. Yeah, the quarterback is the question. I mean, Saquon did his thing in the game. Yeah, but it's Daniel Jones, and he was chased around. I mean, he was getting hit. I don't have the numbers of how many times he fell on his butt, but he was getting pushed. The pocket closed very, very quickly for him, and then so far in the game he did not fumble the ball, so that's a plus. Yeah. But in terms of finding the right guy in the right moment, we don't have the receivers that can separate. And yeah, Saquon a bust, and he did his thing, so I can't really say anything a negative about it. It's just we talk about trying to win in NFL, you need that elite quarterback, or at least great to you need to be above the fray. It can't be an average quarterback unless you can have some kind of legendary defense. So like you said, your Bears, where you guys went to the Super Bowl with Rex Grossman.
Correct.
I don't even know that's even possible now, right? Like that was
those days. I think those days are behind us because the offensive schemes are so different now, and there's so many really good there's a lot of good quarterback play going on in the NFL right now. Even from people we didn't expect, like Jalen Hurts. I mean, I kind of thought he'd be good, but Jalen Hurts is on another planet right now.
He's gonna basically, the Eagles are gonna win that division.
I mean, and their defense looks good. They got playmakers. I mean, they look strong. I mean, so it's gonna be you got to have a top 10 quarterback in today's NFL to even sniff a championship. I think the days of like the Trent Dilfers and Rex Grossmans and guys like that taking teams to Super Bowls, and those days are behind us. So.
Yeah. Shout out to Nova Dasher, the O-line. The Giants O-line didn't do him any favors. Yeah, but when you have a beast like Michael Parsons just blowing up people, it just makes everything easier, and it's hard. Like Daniel Jones was running. He was running for his life. That shows that if you're really, really good, like if you're, the Tom Brady's and the Aaron Rodgers, the ball is flying out so fast that it doesn't matter. He's not there yet. If he does that, he's going to throw a pick. So he's running, right? So like the pocket closes and he's looking for a run. He did a few runs, but that's not how it's going to work if you want to really be a great quarterback. Novak actually also said that Daniel Jones is going to be a backup quarterback for the rest of his career. Maybe. You
After
know,
this, after this year, I think so. Unless they go to the playoffs, I think he's a second string for the rest of it. I would agree with that.
and this is the amazing thing about NFL being a multi-billion-dollar company, right? That you could be a backup quarterback, like Chase Daniel or something like that, right? And make
Uh,
all this money and
yeah,
be fine. And people may clown you, and you may not want to be on social media, but that man is a multi-millionaire by sitting on the bench, being ready, got the clipboard, he's at the meetings, and he's making millions of dollars.
yeah.
That don't sound like a bad life to me, don't you think?
Not at all. He was with the Bears a couple years ago. He had to play a game when our guy got hurt,
You
and
gotta play
yeah,
one.
and then he's been on a lot of organizations,
Yeah.
and he's a serviceable backup though. He's a professional. There's guys like that,
You
and
got the Geno Smiths, Teddy
yeah,
Bridgewaters out there, multi-million-dollar making dudes just out there playing a sport they love, ready to get called up if the opportunity presents itself. That sounds like a pretty bad job. I'll say
yeah,
that, especially a quarterback. You don't get too many hits compared to the rest of the
yeah.
positions. Like not too bad. And if that's where Daniel Jones will be, then so be it.
I think
Right?
so. I think that's where it's heading. I'm sorry, Hannibal, but yeah, I think so.
It's okay. I wasn't a big fan. It's picking a quarterback is so difficult. He may lose his job, but he'll be taken care of. But there's a man that may lose his job and his whole life is falling apart. And that's what
Let's
we're
get
talking
into
about.
it. Let's get into it.
We're going to be talking about the Celtics coach, Ime Udoka. And I'll take a picture of him right here. This is not a legit quote, but I saw this on Facebook.
I haven't seen that one yet, but that's appropriate.
But it's appropriate. I mean, let's go down exactly what he has been. It was a very surprising situation, but I don't know. I think it was a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
We hear some news on ESPN. I think it was Woj or Shams, one of those two. They seem like they're in everything. That the Celtics are going to investigate a situation with consensual relationships in their organization. The NBA had nothing to do with this. Like the NBA franchise itself had nothing to do with this. This is an internal Boston Celtics thing that Ime Udoka had a consensual relationship with one of the, basically a coworker or basically someone at the organization he had a relationship with. And the Boston Celtics has a very strict, you cannot have a relationship in anybody you're working with in this organization. This is the rules that they set. And somehow they figured out that he was messing with someone. Apparently this person is married as well. And they decided to punish him by suspending him for a full year, but it also said is indefinite. Then they're saying there's some financial penalties. And then we're all confused. We're all trying to figure out like what is going on here. Is the person that he had this relationship with, is that person going to lose their job? So I got some sound clips I've seen from First Take and the back and forth with some people. But before I would get into that, Pedro, what's your thoughts initially when you heard this news? Like, what was going on through your head about this?
When I heard it, they were so vague. I was like, okay, did he get a DWI? Did he, was there, it was so vague, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, because initially it was like they didn't talk about the consensual relationship, the first report that I saw. And then the consensual relationship came out. I was like, oh, okay, he's banging somebody on the staff or whatever. And I thought, okay, I know he's with Nia Long. They're not married. I'm like, all right, well, that's okay. Why even have this come out? Because Boston just came out with it. Like, just, it wasn't like it was like they came out with it based on what I saw. And then I thought, okay, well, damn, he's screwed up, But then, like, this happens. This is very common in the business world with people that work together in any kind of world, regardless of your position, regardless if you're just a bartender, like it happens everywhere. And I think that the more, initially I was like, damn, okay, he's, why even suspend him for a year? Like, you're going to suspend him and then he's going to come back and everything's going to be cool. Because then let's say they suspend him and he comes back, there's a whole cloud over that whole team. Right. And every decision he makes, every loss, it's going to be a big story, right? So why not just fire him, or why not say nothing at all? I feel like they mishandled it. That's my opinion. But now more and more is coming out. Different women. Who's it? Is it this? Is it this? And it's just like it's messy, and I don't think it has to be, but it is. That's
Well, we got a reporter in the chat. Nova Dasher says that it was the husband of the woman that Ime was having an affair with that found out and went to the team. So,
Yeah,
so that
I could see that. I haven't heard that. I could definitely see that being a thing. I think even if I'm the Celtics, I think I handle it differently. If I'm the person making the decision,
mhm.
I feel like I handle it in house because now when you open up these floodgates, it's like their whole season shit. Like the whole season, like it's they already had the Jalen Brown stuff. He's not happy, and then you got this budding superstar Jason Tatum, and it's like now, like I feel like their season's just kind of unless they win a championship, which could have been possible going into the season. I think now, unless they do that, the season is just like everybody's gonna be talking about this, right? And it's
yeah.
like it's so common though in the business. This is common, and even other ex players are coming out like, guys, this happens. Like, why is this one the story? So that's what's kind of weird to me. But I guess if Nova's saying, like, he's banging like some head guy's chick or his wife, then feelings get involved, and it's he definitely screwed up. Like you can't do that. Like at the end of the day, like he's gotten me along. He's a professional coach of a Boston Celtics, good-looking guy, young guy. He could have sex with any woman he wants, actually. Why do it in-house? Why are you dipping your pen in a company's ink? That's the one thing you shouldn't do, especially if you're in a position that he has. So he screwed up. So he's got to pay the price for that.
Well, I think the reason why he did it is because it's right here. He was horny. Well, the problem is with a job like that, he doesn't have a lot of time to go out and go out and meet new people. This happens with, like I said, very very powerful people, politicians in particular. They're
Yeah.
not necessarily going out to the club to find a person to mess with. They're doing what Bill Clinton did. She was around him
Yeah.
in the
Good point.
office, feeling I'm sure there's flirting being passed forth. She reciprocated, and then they kind of had the affair. I think that's probably what happened, and I think also what Nova Dasher was saying, you don't want if someone's threatening to blow up a story or blow up a situation, you want to be ahead of it. And I think Boston Celtics just wanted to drop like the hammer on the situation, and I
Yeah.
think that went to a different direction. We're gonna go through to some different perspectives on it, but let's just go back to the idea of dating at work. Pedro, you worked at restaurants. You did your
Yeah.
thing. I've worked obviously in facilities and stuff like that, doing the dog boarding stuff. What is your thoughts with dating in the workplace? Do you think it's a good idea, bad idea? What's your thoughts initially?
I think it's common. I've done it. I was always of the you don't date down. So if you're a manager of a place, like Dasher Poppy was saying, you're not smashing the host, you're not dating the host. Like that you can't. You could do it. It could be fun, but that's gonna come back and bite you in the butt, right?
Yeah.
I think if you're a bartender and you're dating a bartender or servers date, like that's common. Like that is, and I think that's cool. Like that's fine. Now there could be drama that comes with that because you're working together and then you're also you got to be careful, but like it's common. It's common to be attracted to want to flirt with coworkers. Like let's not kid ourselves, but you can't do it downwards. I think it happens. I think that's also very common. But if you're the CEO of a company and you're banging your secretary, like that could be cool. I'm not against it, but you're going to get what you get. Don't be surprised a year later if you don't have a job, if your family's ruined, if your wife finds out. Like you're gambling with your future. But I think it's very common in the moment. Like this stuff happens all the time in every organization. But I don't know. Was she? I heard that she was like in the organization. So is she? Like, so the husband found out, but she actually works for the Celtics. Is that right?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. Yeah.
does the husband work for the Celtics as well or not?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I think she. Well, what I think is why they were so aggressive about it is the possible issues with if things go wrong. If things go wrong, and then feelings come together where now the companies have a problem, because I think that's what I'm assuming the big issue is. All right, it's consensual, but what happens if when it doesn't become consensual? Where does it go? Who says what? The woman says something, then the
Yeah.
whole thing becomes even a bigger scandal. I think that's why the Celtics went as aggressive as they should. But like you said initially, they probably should just fire the guy. So I'm also having some other ideas, yeah, beyond just dating at the workplace. And I'll be honest, I'm gonna be completely honest. Yes, I have done it. I have regret.
That's what I'm saying. You can do it, but I think the
Yeah,
regret is usually there more prevalent, then you're like happy that you made that decision,
Yeah, I
in the long
think
run.
when you're busy and you're there every day and you see them moving around and shivering, but shimmering around, you're looking at them like, hey, it was a bad idea. So like if someone came to me and said, yo, I want to date this girl at work, I say, hey, don't do it.
Yeah.
Don't, but also, like I said, feelings come. It's hard to, I'm sure people met their husbands and wives,
Happens all
bartending
the
and
time.
working.
All the time.
But I tell you, nowadays, I don't think it's a good idea. I think work is for work, focus on that. And people, come in and out of, some people work for a while, then bounce. Before, if that happens, fantastic. But even if you're all on the same level, let's say you guys work at the bar. Now your girl or your guy is, at the bar with you working at the same time. It's certain now, like there's a different element now. You better not try to flirt or try to
Yeah.
even be
It
too
gets
friendly with someone.
it gets
Or what happens if
messy.
your significant other that's working with you don't like another coworker? Now you're in the middle. It just brings a whole lot of issues. So if someone came to me and said, should I date even we're on the same level, I would say it's probably not a good idea. You want to
Yeah.
enjoy, at least be able to work out dealing with so many other issues. It's already a situation where you have to deal with relationships
Mhm.
and dealing with that and the obligations you have to deal with. Now you put them both together. So now you got to deal with your relationship and they work at you and your job. That's a lot. So I
Yeah.
would say no, even though I have done it.
No,
Um,
I hear you, and I think that, most companies, and obviously the Celtics have it. We had it at Applebee's, we had it at the casino, the jobs I've had, right? There's actually within your, employee handbook or company guidelines or whatever, it's you can't do it. It's a fireable offense in some companies, and the
yeah.
lingo even say that. But, we're humans. We're horny, like you said, the little caption you put
Well,
up.
yeah. I mean,
Put it up
he
again
did.
for
He
me. Put it up
didn't
again
say.
for
He
me.
didn't say that.
Okay, I was
But
horny. Yes, but listen, I've been horny before, and you get, you're working at wherever you're working. It's like, oh man, she's hot. We're human beings. Or you're a woman, like, man, he's an attractive man. And in some cases, let's just be real. This happens a lot. You have a authority figure, man or woman, but most of the time it's a man. Okay, in the business world, unfortunately, right? That's how it is. And you have this authority figure that's a man, and you have a woman that's working there, and sometimes that authority figure puts out his authority and like is flirting and dangling the carrot and like that, this is common,
yeah,
and women do it too to men. Like, it goes both ways. And I think that Emi Adoko, I think he screwed up because she was married, so eventually you're not gonna get away from that. Like, you're gonna get caught. That's just how it happens. Somebody's gonna slip up if you do it long enough, right?
yeah,
This wasn't like a smash and grab, like one night stand kind of deal. They had a little affair. They were doing it, right? And so if she's not married, I think it's a different situation. But because she's married, you're gonna get caught up even quicker. The husband's gonna find out. He's gonna suspect something. She's got kids. It's like, I mean, at the end of the day, like, he screwed up. He was horny. He made a mistake. And, I almost feel like either he should be fired or he should be like some kind of something else. I think suspending for a year and then possibly bringing him back is a really bad decision. I think it should be like one or the other. You can't suspend a man for a year and then bring him back. It's a bad look for the team. I think it's distracting for the players. And yeah, man, listen, when you're a horny man, you get yourself in trouble. And I think he got himself in trouble. And if he can go back in time, I'm sure he would
yeah. I mean,
not do
obviously,
it.
he got himself in a bad situation where that he obviously, I'm sure he regrets it. But I guess we're going back and forth. And actually, let me put this comment from Hector. That's how I got my girlfriend working at the bar. Had some Long
Mhm.
Islanders with her, and still with her after 7 years. That's awesome. That's
Sure.
awesome.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that we all had those stories of people who have been together forever, and because you met at work, and we spend all of our time at work. But when now you're like dealing with multi-billion-dollar companies, right?
Yeah.
You're being that you finally got a head coach job. You actually took the Celtics to the finals, and now this one situation blew up so badly now that we could talk about the game, right? We could talk about the Boston Celtics, and things weren't going great when they were trying to shop Jaylen Brown, and Jaylen Brown was really, you could tell from social media, not happy about this. Like, hey, listen, I've helped. It wasn't just Tatum. I contributed significantly. It basically it was a tandem, me and him. Now I'm getting shipped out. What's going on? So I'm sure there's some feelings about that, and I would say a lot of the players and some of the media are a little confused about this and looking at like, okay, are we gonna fire everyone? Like both parties? Okay, you're gone, and the woman who decided that she was working, she knows the rules, and it don't seem like she's getting fired.
Yeah, I haven't heard. I was going to ask you, like, is there the same for her? Like, is she suspended? Does she have a
I mean,
job?
I
Like,
don't see anything. I mean, if anyone could find it, you could throw a link inside, or actually, we gotta start giving people some wrenches. For these people getting,
if anything else, she'll quit. I mean, she's
yeah,
not going to want to go back. I mean, you have to remember, like, think about going into that office and doing your job after so I'm sure she's not going to be working with the Celtics anymore. And I don't think he would even come back. I think even if they wanted him to, he's a hireable guy. I think when he can work next year or whenever, he'll be with somebody else. That's my opinion on it. He won't be with the
yeah,
Celtics.
and he's and he messed up his relationship. I mean, that's the first thing and that's what Dash Up Hoppy says. What messed up is he cheated on Nia Long. Now let me get to this. Now
Let's talk about that. Yeah,
Nia Long and E-Maid, they were engaged, but they were together for a very long time.
Yeah,
have kids. They never got married.
Oh, they have kids? I didn't know they had kids. They have kids?
Yeah, they have children. Yeah.
What? I didn't know that. Okay.
So they basically were together, but never got married. And yes, Nia Long, fine woman. Anyone can get caught up. Like I would say, no one is safe, no matter how attractive you are as a woman or as a man. No one is safe from being cheated on.
Facts.
The most beautiful women in the world, most beautiful.
Jay-Z cheated on Beyonce. The Adam Levine dude's got a Victoria's Secret's wife, and he cheated on her.
He cheated on her.
Like, it doesn't matter what you look like; you can be cheated on. Yes.
Yeah. So who knows if there was situations at home? Who knows? You think like Nia Long? Like, well, again, you don't know their life. You've been with her for a long time. A lot of people do not last long in terms of relationships. It's still kind of weird. And the details of the trips and all the things that they were doing, and the fact that Nia Long probably didn't realize this until she probably watches on TV is pretty embarrassing for her. So that's messed up. So his whole life has been turned upside down. And you think, well, all right, suspend him for a while. Okay, you don't need to suspend him for an entire year. You already put it out. It's public. He's embarrassed. He's probably lost his relationship with his woman. You suspend him for a few games to demonstrate this is what happens if you ever do this again, or to anyone else. Don't do this, or you being embarrassed like this guy. But the whole idea to take him out for a whole year. So now I put my conspiracy hat on, right? Well, if I had a hat, my head is big, so it's hard to find hats to fit. What is really going on? Did they have problems with him as a coach? Do they think anyone else in that staff or that organization could have took the Celtics to the finals?
Are you saying this is their excuse to get rid of him?
I'm not saying that, but you could if there was issues and this guy is so horny he can't control himself. You'd be like, hey, listen, Brad Stevens could have took that team to the finals.
No. Brad Stevens didn't. I mean, he didn't.
I'm saying that, but do you think it's a possibility that they didn't like what the situation was to get to the finals, and this one situation gives them an excuse to push them away?
No, I don't think that. I mean, I'm not saying that's impossible. I think that's very unlikely that happened. I think in today's culture, in today's climate, things happen. This guy's like, I'm gonna leak this story. You got to do something about it. And I think Boston Celtics made a really quick decision. They're like, we don't want the bad PR, so we're gonna get in front of this, like you said, Hannibal. And we're gonna, a coach of man of authority is, cheating and doing all this consensual relationship, but we want to get in front of it because we don't want the bad PR. But I think sometimes when you do that and you don't think about it enough, in my opinion, I think they didn't realize, like, they didn't see it all the way through. I think if they just let him go, I think it's a little bit different. But I think the whole 1 year suspensions is kind of weird. It leaves everything up in the air. I think if they would,
I don't think they want to pay him, so that's why they probably just they didn't fire him, because you got to pay once he signed a contract. You got to pay. What's the years left of the contract?
This is $1 billion. I mean, they got the money. I think they made a rash and like a really quick decision, and they didn't want the bad PR of, oh, well, you knew about this and you did nothing, because that would have been really bad, right?
Yeah.
So, but it's so common. Like, this happens all the time. Like, so you're going to suspend a man for a year. And that's what you did for your organization. And the NBA suspended an owner for 1 year for being like a racist, and that's equal. So like this equal punishments
But that's the thing too. Like the NBA,
I mean, what's
the
going
NBA
on
had
there?
nothing to do with the Boston Celtics decision.
Right.
I doubt they would even suggest like, okay, well, just fine him, or
Yeah.
I mean, once the situation is put out publicly, that's a strong enough penalty for what he did. He's going to lose his woman, his family's, the whole family situation dynamic has changed. You embarrassed her, so the fact that you're going to try to make it work, I doubt it. But now with Nia Long, she's gone, right?
She's gone.
You'll probably be on your best behavior while you coach from now on. But you'll think that if he is a great coach, because this is what happens. Great coaches, great players, great people, or at least valuable people are able to get away with things that the average person can't. So it's weird that if he coached a good team, took him to the finals, you'd think he would have enough credibility, or at least cachet, to say, yeah, this guy cheated and he messed with the rules. But to push him away so quickly, that's why I'm thinking, like, is there more to the story than what we're getting? I'm sure more details will come out, but I'm thinking, is there anything else out happening that the Celtics would be so quick to push him away as fast as they did?
Yeah, that's you talked about your conspiracy hat. Maybe this guy's extra horny and he's banging the training staff. You know what I'm saying?
Someone came in to stream as we were talking about how horny he was. I literally came in and he's so horny.
Sorry, we need some context here.
We're trying to break it down. Look, that's what we're trying to say.
Yeah, he's horny. I was horny. So listen, and I'll be honest, because whatever. Like if you're gonna cheat in a relationship you've been with for a while, you got a couple kids. Nia Long it doesn't matter, beauty, not beauty, right? She's your woman, right? And if you're gonna cheat, and you have this family foundation, your girl, your wife, your significant other, she's at the front row at your games in the finals, she's supporting you, she's got a jersey on. That ain't the only woman he's cheated on her with. Okay, I would bet my paycheck on that. Okay, so there could be other things going on, right, behind the scenes. I'm sure. Somebody said earlier he was planning trips and doing sneaky stuff. Like, I'm sure this wasn't the only. This could have been to where something else was found out, like last year. They swept it under the rug because they're like, we can get away with this. Let's pay this person off. But this husband was like, no, I'm not having that. I'm gonna, So I'm sure this probably wasn't the first time. I think he's probably might have a history of that. I mean, you don't just cheat at this stage in your life when you've been with a woman for a while like that. I'm sure he's done this before. And I don't know if I'm the Celtics. I know this is common, like I said, in organizations, but like I'm either gonna fire him or I'm gonna do something lesser than the 1 year. The 1 year just seems really odd to me, because I think you can't come back from that. You're saying they're telling him that he can come back, but you really can't, and he shouldn't want to anyway. I don't think so.
Because it could go two ways. This situation destroys the team, where they don't like the organization. Jaylen Brown just like, hey, get me out of here. This whole situation is weird. Or they all come together. They play for the new coach. The new coach, I think his name is Joe Zamula. I'm not sure to pronounce his name. He's going to be the head coach. But if he takes the team deep into the playoffs, why would you bring another guy back? And
they're gonna. I would think they're at least a playoff team. So, I don't know. It's weird. I think it's interesting though, and I want to ask you two questions.
Sure.
One, what would you do if you were the Celtics president? And two, why do you think this is getting more coverage and talk than a few other stories that are sports related? And that ESPN really isn't talking about. What do you say to that?
Well, what I would have done, usually my strategy when I was managing anything was you want to praise publicly and criticize privately. So if I knew, and this is a very highly successful coach, he clearly was able to take this team to the finals. So there's some level of discipline there. There's a level of accountability that he put on his players, put on himself. That you would talk to him and say, "Hey, listen, we found some stuff out." Um, I would you thought it'd be enough relationship to be like, "Yo, clean this up." And if I hear any more about this, it's going to be a problem. And you'll think you're talking to a very highly motivated, successful individual to be like, okay, yeah, you're right. Let me clean this up.
Yeah.
But as Nova Dash said, it probably couldn't been taken care of privately. It was too late. Like, Ime, you put us in a bad position at this point. But both parties need to be disciplined. It can't just be him. And we have not seen who the person is or if there's even some level of discipline happening to the other party, because it's consensual, meaning both people are in trouble. If you work at a restaurant and you have two employees banging in the bathroom, you're not going to fire one of the employees. You're going to fire both of them. You both knew the rules. No banging in the bathroom.
Well, I might, depending on how busy my restaurant is, I might not fire them in the moment. I might need them to wash up and go back and serve. But
yeah, please clean up, clean your, get the sanitizer. No, you can't. And then if someone comes out, you're one of your employees. Well, I did because I was one. I don't care. It should be working.
Listen, funny story before you get to answer that second part about different stories ESPN's covering, because I want your take on that.
Yeah,
I've had a similar situation at a restaurant I was managing. They weren't banging, but they were doing some things in the back of the house. It's extremely common in the bar and restaurant industry. Very common.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I thought you had more.
Oh, no, sorry. I thought we froze. No, I'm just saying. That was halftime for y'all. I'm saying it's common. It's very common.
Yeah, of course it is. It's just, you don't want, whatever you decide to do, don't put it to a point where you're inconveniencing your job or the other coworkers or the job itself. If you're able to do that and not get anybody in trouble or blow yourself up, yeah, definitely. And what you're saying before about the Brett Favre situation, or at least the Brett Favre situation.
I knew that you knew what I was talking about.
Yeah, so if anyone haven't known, this has been going on for the last week or so, that there's a massive welfare fraud scandal in Mississippi. And Brett Favre is part of the problem. He's actually a big player in the problem, stealing money that's supposed to go for, people who need it to fund projects that he wanted to be funded. And it's like court filings being put out. Brett Favre wanted athletic facility at his alma mater, his college, right? And he pressed the former governor, Phil Bryant, and his text messages that he needed additional funds. And because his daughter is still there at University of Southern Mississippi, that he pressed this guy. And also, I don't know if anyone lives in Mississippi or knows about Mississippi. It's one of the poorest places, poorest states. They don't have money, right? Like, it's really bad there. I'm sure there's some great pockets. I mean, David Banner's down there, David Banner, but it's hard there. So welfare, the welfare system is very important. That Brett Favre went on his way because he's Mr. Hall of Famer, one of the greatest quarterbacks to play. Pressed that governor to release funds that was supposed to go for the poorest people to build an athletic center.
Yeah, it's crazy.
You think that that's probably a huge story that should be talked about ad nauseum on ESPN, just like the other scandals, with the Suns owner, what's going on with Ime. Actually, I don't know, this Ime scandal is not even that much big as Brett Favre. Brett Favre's issue, it's terrible.
I'm surprised. I'm surprised. That's why I wanted to get your opinion. I'm surprised the coverage isn't what it is, because it is such a juicy, very almost political, like maybe because it is political, they feel like it might go their way. That's why they're not talking or being told to talk about it, because ESPN kind of has a history of some people don't like that, right? Yeah. But like, it's just it's so creepy and shady, and I'm not surprised. But like Brett Favre, it's like, I know he's not playing anymore, but like he's always like not a lot of controversy around him. So when you're being schemy like that and basically saying that a volleyball facility is more important than making sure people are getting fed in a time of massive inflation in one of the poorest states, like that to me is like despicable. I'll just use
Yeah.
that word, right?
Yeah, I'm sure he
So
didn't think no one knows who's gonna get caught doing something you're not supposed to be doing. So I'm
yeah,
sure those text messages, he didn't think that were going to be put out. He's sure no one's going to figure it out. But you, because you're Brett Favre and you think, well, I'm more important, my daughter's more important than the rest of you. Yeah, take that money and put it over here. Because, and another thing too about down south, and especially football's a big deal, sports is a big deal, but not over people eating and
yeah,
being able to be taken care of. And the governor to even suggest to even you think as a governor you are in charge of the entire state. The most important job, powerful job in the state is the governor. That
yeah.
even if Brett Favre is telling you some nonsense about take this money and build a facility, you should be saying, hey, listen, you need to go F yourself. I don't care what you've done in the past. I'm not
That's a
doing
really
that.
good point. That's a good point. I mean, if anything, this person that actually has the right to make the final decision is more of a scumbag than Brett Favre, right?
Yeah.
Because Brett Favre might be just, hey, I'm implying something. Hey, my daughter's there. We all have kids. We got kids. We want the best for our kids. I get it. You're like, hey, he might not. Maybe he didn't even realize the whole context. I don't know. I'm not him. But the fact that the governor would then say, or whoever makes that decision, like, yeah, let's take this 5 million and it's more better off use for a volleyball facility than, making sure some people actually might be able to have a little more to take care of their families with at a time that we're in right now. Yeah. I mean, I don't think he's the top guy on the list that takes the blame, but I'm just surprised it's not being talked about as much. I think it's a little weird to me.
I think now it is because we realize, at least a lot of people are starting to realize, yeah, we're talking about this Celtics coach, and there's a few things I want to bring up before we finish with that, but that this Brett Favre thing is way worse, like way worse. It's not even a question. Yes, these are two grown adults ruining their lives by cheating, right?
Yeah.
And really, at this point, one guy. We're gonna go into like what's going on with this other situation, but Brett Favre is took food from people, millions of dollars of food from people, and the problem is our celebrity culture. When a very powerful celebrity comes to you and asks for a favor, this is why a lot of people get in trouble. Why some football players or athletes can go to any doctor and say, "Hey, listen, I need these drugs," and even if they're not really supposed to have them, Brett Favre is here talking to me. Brett Favre can give me a signed football. He can do so many different things. I can take a picture with him. Like, people get drunk with the idea that, well, a really powerful person is talking to me, and it's weird because it's a governor. So I don't know what's going on with that, but
That's a good point.
That you would make bad decisions because a really successful or a celebrity person asks you to.
Yeah, I
So
will
Brett
say this
Favre,
though.
yeah.
He's basically the biggest name in athletics in the whole state's history. Don't you think? He's Mississippi. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
so Brett Favre holds a lot of weight within that state and community, I would imagine. So, it's a tough place to be in, but like these people these elected officials got to do better. And Brett Favre should know better. Like, you know what, Brett Favre, if you want that money to go there because your kid goes there, why don't you pay the 5 million? Why don't you put an
Yeah. I
endowment
mean,
down?
that's
You
the
got
thing
the
too.
money. You got the money. So why even, you know what I'm saying? Like, why take
Because they don't
advantage of
want.
that?
That's
Like,
how people stay rich. You don't spend your own
yeah,
money because they get the public funds. But
yeah,
Mississippi doesn't have a lot. I don't know. Look it up right now. But Mississippi is not doing well. It's just
no,
not. A lot of these like Kentucky, they're not doing well. Like you said, inflationary times. People are worried about what's going to happen in the next couple of months. And Brett Favre out of touch because he's been a millionaire, probably over more than his life. Right? He's been rich longer in being alive than he was when he was a regular dude. They don't think about that. That's not even a thing. It's no, let me just text this lawmaker to get something I need. Very popular guy. He has a serious channel that's on hold right now. Commercials, Copperfit, yeah, all that's gone now. Because like, yo, dude, you're a douchebag. Like you're the kind of people we don't want. I don't know. People don't use this, or sometimes you use this like you forget where you came from, kind of thing. Like Brett Favre, what's going on, man? Like you forgot where you came from. Like you just like
yeah,
you're just another like elitist douchebag that
yeah.
care more about like certain
Well,
things than the
I've never
people.
been a Brett Favre fan, but that's because I'm a Bears fan, right? So I've
Oh yeah,
never liked them anyway. But that's
yeah.
just me. Maybe I'm biased, So I just, it's
Aaron Rodgers don't look that bad compared to Brett because I don't think Aaron got, Aaron's not the most likable guy. But I'm
Aaron
sure he
Rodgers
knew
to
that.
me, I don't even. He's weird because like, listen. Maybe I'm jealous. I don't know. He beats us. He's got all the money. He had my. So let me tell you something. There's a couple celebrity women that I just always like looked at and was like, man, that's like my dream girl. And he dated one of them. Olivia Munn is like my dream
Oh
girl.
yeah.
I mean, just doesn't get much better than that for me. And how do you screw that up? So Aaron Rodgers he's a screw up in my book anyway. So
Fair enough. Fair enough. So I was really interested in some of the, I guess, sports analysts' take on the situation with the coach of the Celtics, and Stephen A. had his take, and we're gonna play some video as well or some sound. But he put this tweet up: the suspension of the Celtics coach Ime Udoka is utter bullshit. If you thought I said enough this morning on First Take, you haven't seen a damn thing yet. Blah blah blah. So I want to. So a lot of what he was saying, kind of the same situation that we all are saying, like what's going with the other person. This seems to be a little confusing, a little unfair. What's going on?
Yeah.
And there's another person that talked as well, and had some thoughts on what Stephen had said on his own channel, and that's Mika Andrews, that fine woman over there.
Man.
Yeah, but she said some things. I don't know if you gonna agree with. Actually, I'm gonna play. Let's see if hopefully this works. I'm gonna play what she said, and I'm gonna put his response. So again, he was basically saying, "Hey, listen, things are a little bit unfair here, and we'll hear what she has to say. Hopefully, let me double check to make sure this works first. Give me a second.
Hit the thumbs up for Malika Andrews, gentlemen, please, ladies and gentlemen, please hit the thumbs up for Malika.
Well, we'll see after you hear what she said. Let me see.
I don't care what she said. I don't care.
Let's see. Let me see if I can hear it.
If I could first.
Okay, let's see.
Well, Molly, thank you. If I could first start with this. Stephen A., with all due respect, this is not about pointing the finger. Stop. What became apparent to me in this press conference is that we do not have all of the information here. And it was frustrating to me that the Celtics declined to elaborate or to give more specifics about what exactly the rule breaking was that led us to this point. So that I just want to get that out of the way first. But to answer your question, Molly, I think what stood out to me, I think what stood out to me is that Brad Stevens, he was upset. That's what stood out to me about what he termed rampant Twitter BS is the word that he used, that women were unfairly dragged into this within the Celtics organization. You could see that Brad Stevens was visibly upset about this. And I also found that to be gross and unnecessary, that folks were bringing in the names and the images of women that is just not a fact, that was purely speculation. And so to me, that is what stood out. But the Celtics as an organization could have done more, and short of doing more ahead of this yesterday, they could have owned that responsibility in this press conference. I understand that there were legal parameters that they had to operate within for everybody involved. And I appreciate the fact that they brought in outside counsel and did a thorough organization. And I think that that is something that was clearly necessary in this situation. But the fact that it was able to go on all day, the fact that we are sitting here debating whether somebody else should have been suspended or not, we are not here, Stephen A., to further blame women. That is not why we are here.
Oh, damn.
First of all.
All right. So she's very, very strongly against.
Start with this.
Oh, wait.
Stephen A.
Oh, a second. Oh, sorry. Let me pause that for a second.
Well, Molly, thanks.
But what are your thoughts on what she said before I put in what Stephen said?
I get where she's trying to go. She's protecting the women and they were putting up pictures. Oh, is it this woman? Is it that woman? I get it. She's playing a narrative. She's doing her job. I get that. But like, I think she was a little off. And then I think the way she came at Stephen is like, what the, this is my show. You're going to talk to me? Like,
Yeah, that's what Stephen A. Smith is saying. It's like we don't know who the person is at this point.
Yeah.
We need to know whether you like it or not. I don't know.
Yes.
Her idea is, well, he should get suspended, but we shouldn't speculate who. Why not? We want to know.
That's normal
because we want to see if it's worth it. If
think about it like this. Think about it like this. Let's say a woman came out on the Celtics and said, "I've been in a consensual relationship with a member of the Boston Celtics organization." You don't think that we'd be figuring out, oh, which man is it? And is it Brad Stevens? Is it this person? Is it the coach?
Yeah.
Is it Jason Tatum? It would have been the same thing. So she's being a hypocrite because she would have been on her show talking about what man did this to this woman. So why is it we can't be a hypocrite, Malika? I love you a lot, but you would have done the same thing trying to figure out who the man was. So don't be mad because we're trying to figure out who the woman is. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah. So let's play Stephen A. Smith's response to that.
Be very clear. I don't appreciate where you're going with that. I'm not blaming anybody but Ime Udoka. He deserves, the fact of the matter is, I've said he deserved to be fired if they were going to fire him. If you're not going to fire him, then don't fire him. My issue is all of this being publicized. The point that I'm trying to make is just like you're not mentioning. Excuse me. I listened to you. You're the one telling me to stop on my show. It ain't happening. Okay, that's number one. Number two, I've already said he deserves to be fired, or he deserves to be there and handle it internally and privately. If you're not going to handle it privately, if you're going to publicize it in that fashion, then obviously it provokes everybody wanting to know, okay, well, who are the parties involved? When you have Amina Smith in Boston and other women pointing out the fact that there were women who were wrongly implicated in all of this, it's a disservice to them. I didn't come out with the report about a consensual relationship. I didn't come out with the report ahead of time leaking that they were going to suspend him for the year. They did that. And my point is, considering how pervasive this kind of stuff has existed in professional sports for many years, my whole point is that, make sure that you handle it in the same fashion it has always been handled. You could have fired him, and then we could have speculated till the cows come home, but he's gone. But to keep him there, keep him employed, but in the same breath, suspend him for a year, then also that year is indefinite. That is the issue that I have. Nobody's trying to protect Ime Udoka, and certainly nobody is trying to protect, is to excoriate the women involved or anything like that. I'm talking about how things of this matter are usually handled from an HR perspective, from an organizational perspective. That is not consistent with what we have seen throughout the years.
Okay. So that was a bit of a long clip. Stephen A. was pretty mad at that point. You could tell from Amika, like it says, bias. While I think Stephen A. fairly, because usually he's biased, and sometimes I'm not a big fan of what he be throwing out sometimes, but he's right on this, that there's a traditional way of handling it. This is not it. They're trying to do too much, or trying to please too many people, or like you said, too rash. Fire him. But if you can keep him around, then we're going to ask questions. Who's the person? And eventually we'll know who the person, and it better look as good or better than Neil Long, or he's all messed up.
I feel like I saw something. I've seen the picture of the woman and actually the husband, the guy. I've seen something. At first, what I saw was one of the women. She had like a Celtics shirt on. She looked like she might have been either mixed or African American. And like I remember seeing a picture of her, and then there was this woman, and then it was like a lady that's married, and like I feel like they figured it out. I don't know, but at the end of the day, I don't agree with Stephen A. a lot. I agree with him here. I think he's spot on. I think he's been consistent with like either fire him or don't fire him, and you know what I'm saying. Like, so I think Malika Andrews looks a little like she jumped on this too much. Like, how dare you guys speculate because they're women? Yeah, and I like Malika. I think she does a great job. I think she's a good moderator, great insight. But like, I think she was a little off here. And I think, like I said, if it would have been the other way around, we would have been speculating on the men. So it's only natural to speculate, well, who's the woman? You're saying it's a consensual relationship within an organization. okay, well, who is it? Of course, people are going to speculate. We're human beings. We want to know who he's being horny with. Like that's just natural, right? So I think I think at the end of the day, Udoka, the coach, he screwed up. He knows it. He's a horny guy. You did what you did. You take your L. You apologize. You move on. He'll coach somewhere else. I'm sure he will. I'm sure he'll have success. He's a good coach. But I think the Celtics also have a little blame with how they handled it, in my opinion.
They should have. It looks like they should have just fired him. You're going to have to pay him or whatever moral clause he violated. And I'm sure as lawyers, they negotiate the contracts if it's that big a deal. But I still think I'm going to put back on that conspiracy hat on, the fake one, because again, my head is too big to fill real hats.
You don't think they like him as a coach? You don't think they like him as a coach?
I thought he was a fine coach. I think he took they swept, the Brooklyn Nets. There's 2 Hall of Famers on that team at prime, and they made Kevin Durant quit. Kevin was like, all right, I'm done. This is not even going to work. You know what I mean? Like there was the first game was a fight, and then that was it. The Celtics was taking down really good teams. So it seems like he's a good coach. But you don't know, we don't know all the dynamics of how many people have probably looked at him as a head coach and seen him banging hot chicks. And he's like, this guy don't coach. I can coach this team better. Or you don't know, because it could be a very like Game of Thrones situation where certain pockets of people like, hey, I think I could do a better job than this guy is currently doing. I still think it was some weird stuff happening with the Buccaneers. How Bruce Arians at one point said, I'm excited to coach team. All of a sudden they promoted him and they got some other guy because Tom Brady want to come back.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff happening that we don't necessarily know.
Well, but that's the thing. That's the thing.
Yeah.
It's okay if we don't know. And I think the Celtics gave us too much. So either fire the man, don't let us, like, you know what I'm saying? Like they're giving us a little too much without giving us enough. I know that might sound odd to some of y'all, but like when you give us a little bit, but you don't give us 100%, we're going to speculate even more. If you don't give us anything and just fire him because he broke protocol, then that's fine. Then we can just blah, 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 imagine and come up to whatever conspiracy we want. But I do think it happens often with Bruce Arians. Who knows? But Tampa Bay handled it better than Boston, whatever happened. Don't you think?
Yeah.
Because they're not talking about that right now, so.
Yeah. And the speculation is all over the place. So, we got a bunch of comments in thinking, is it the owners' wives or some senior executive wives that maybe worked in the organization? Again, it's someone who works there. And, Malik is mad because like they're accusing all these women. Yeah, because we don't know. So we're looking at pictures, we're examining them, we're looking at maybe there's a possibility of it, maybe not. Like it is that, like I said, going back to human nature, of course. That's what Stephen A was saying. They put it out there. He didn't leak the story. No one leaked the story. They put the story out. NBA had nothing. The NBA or the whole organization had nothing to do with this. They didn't even know. Like, all right.
You know what? I'd almost rather them step in because I think Adam Silver's a really good, phenomenal commissioner. I think he's the best commissioner in the 4 major sports. I think he handles things really well usually. I think he's got good people around him. I almost would have wanted the NBA to do something, but maybe I'm wrong. I don't know. But that's, I think the Celtics screwed it on this one. I think the coach, I also think he probably had a history of some other things going on, Hannibal. So maybe
that's what I think.
To your point, I think this was their excuse to throw him under the bus or whatever, because I think other things were happening. Because like I said earlier, this ain't the first time he's cheated. There's something else was happening. I'm sure of it. So.
It has to be. What do you think is going to happen with this team? I mean, it's basically the same players coming back. You got Jaylen Brown, you got Tatum, you got Marcus Smart, Robert Williams, Grant Williams.
They added Malcolm Brogdon. They added from the Pacers, so that's a really big ad for them.
Yeah, good point guard, right?
Point guard, yeah. So, I think if Jaylen Brown plays and he's still motivated, and they could be a really good team. The East, I think, is kind of loaded up. Brooklyn. I think the Bulls are going to be better this year. The Bucks. So it's not going to be an easy route. I mean, I don't think they're the favorites to go to the finals, especially after this, when you have a coach turnover like that. But I think they'll be all right overall. But
it does bring the idea of how important a coach is. because sometimes I think a lot of us, especially in the NBA, I think NFL coaches gets a little bit more credit. Do we think NBA coaches, and I think you actually talked about this.
We did, yeah.
So this is a good test to see if NBA coaches actually matter. This one guy took the team to the finals. Now I'm not saying for it to work that the team has to go back to the finals, but if they get knocked out in the first round, that may be a sign that, because again, same players and they got some additions, right? They have Gallinari. He's a pretty good role player. They got you said Brogdon. Is it Brogdon?
Malcolm Brogdon.
Yeah. Decent point guard. Was Denzel Valentine? He was always in that team.
No, Valentine was with the Bulls and somebody else in the last few years. So yeah, they picked up some pieces. I think.
Yeah, they picked up some role players to kind of bring up more of, I guess, the ball handling aspect. But if they don't do, and Novadash already has it, this is going to be such a huge distraction for this team, because every, loss streak, they may lose 2-3 in a row. Damn, I guess they could have had their guy, and they're going to have to answer these questions, and maybe firing him would have made the most sense. And yes, you're going to have to figure out how to pay him, because you can't.
Yeah, but he's making. I know I don't know what he's making, but he's not one of the top paying. He's not making Greg Popovich, Phil Jackson, Eric Spoelstra. He's not making.
You have to pay him a few million.
Yeah, he's not making top. He's making a lot of money, I'm sure, but it's not like he's not one of the top paid guys. So money, to me, should not be an issue for the Celtics. So if they're money motivated, we want to save a couple million, that's a bad decision making. That's
I don't know how the owner is. I know there are some cheap owners. There are owners that don't want to spend money. That's why a lot of players leave. So I don't know how the Celtics throws out big contracts. The Knicks, come to the Knicks. They'll pay you a lot of money to do nothing. Just doesn't matter.
Hannibal. Nobody wants to go to New York, bro. I'm sorry.
Well, if you give him $100 million for a player that I never heard of until the playoffs for the Mavs, he has $100 million now. So they'll pay you there. But some places they're more strict with the pocketbook. And powerful people, I'm sure, like the owner of the Celtics, they don't like just giving money away, especially if you messed up. And they will spend time on lawyers, and they'll rather, because ego comes in. It's like, man, you kind of messing up my organization here with your nonsense. I may not want to reward you by firing and giving you your money, even though that'd probably be a better idea. So we'll see. I mean, I'm sorry, Hector, but don't roast my neck. They pay everybody. You know it. They pay everybody. Let's not get into how much money they throw at these
I think the Knicks would be better next year if they brought back Patrick Ewing, John Starks, a retired Charles Oakley, bring back Melo on a 1-year deal, and Latrell Sprewell.
So give me that. Let's just go all the way. Herbert Davis.
Give me those 5 guys: Anthony Mason and Herbert Davis and Charlie Ward off the bench. You'll probably win more games than you're going to win this year.
Well, Hector put it in. He said Derrick Rose lost 20 pounds this year. So
I love Derrick Rose. I could do a whole podcast on Derrick Rose. I am a huge Derrick Rose fan. That man has come from so many surgeries. I love Derrick Rose. I love everything about him.
Yeah, without the surgery, he would have been probably top. He was going to be top 10 if he didn't get himself hurt.
Hold on. All time?
I think so.
Oh, I don't think so. Maybe.
Kind of. I mean, he won MVP at 21 years old, something like that. If he went and did a 10, 13, 15-year career of that kind of athleticism, and maybe that wasn't ever going to matter because he ran so hard, he jumped so high, and he played so physical. And he had the one coach that probably pushed him too hard physically. We won't ever know, but he was damn good, though. Damn good. So I don't know.
No, listen, he was with my Bulls. I mean, I was watching the game when they was, playing against the Heat. He hits a game winner in the playoffs. I'm like, ooh, are the Bulls gonna upset the Heat? Let's do this. But he just, he played with such. He was Westbrook before Westbrook. He played with a lot of he was fast.
Yeah,
great on the fast break. But he just, But I love his story after that. I think he's played still very well. He's had to deal with a lot of pressure. He made a lot of money. He's just a street kid. I love his story. I'm a big Derrick Rose fan, man. Big shout out to D Rose.
Yeah, he's really loved here. They love him.
Yeah,
they love him here.
Oh yeah.
So Nova is a hater, and he has a question for us. He says, "Which team is worse managed, the Knicks or the Giants?"
Oof.
The Knicks is the answer. The
Yes.
Giants did win a championship 11 years ago, so I know it's been a while. Nova, you look young, so I don't know if you were alive when that happened. But
it's the Knicks. It's the Knicks by far.
It's the Knicks. We had the Knicks owner is one of the worst owners. He's up there with Dan Snyder. So those are two that make the worst owners in team sports.
I like that shot you just took. That was great.
Dan Snyder from the Washington. I don't know what they call him now. Generals or whatever.
No, Washington. I think it's Commanders, but I think we should call them the Washington Have-Nots.
Sure.
The Washington Have-Nots.
Ever since he had that team, they've been nothing but terrible. And James Dolan for the Knicks. Two bad teams with owners that are like out of touch. They're weird to communicate with.
Yes.
They'll pay again. Both teams will overpay for players that shouldn't get paid. They both do it.
Yes.
And they can't get out of their own way. They hire coach by coach, general manager, and it just never ever works out. I mean, we had Phil Jackson as a team president. It hasn't worked out. It won't work out until they leave. I don't know if it's like a level of like aura that you bring into an organization when certain owners are able to just figure it out, and some just, no matter how much money they throw at the problem, it doesn't work. And I think that's it with those two team owners. So
yeah,
we'll never know.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think, man, the Knicks, for me, the turning point, and it could have been something before this, and you probably know better than me, but when Charles Oakley was at that game and they had security kind of escort him out or whatever,
goofy stuff like
that was just, to me, that says a lot about it. Or when you have one of your legends, right?
Yeah.
And he's still supporting the team, and you treat him like that. I mean, come on, it's mismanagement all the way. Like, you can't. It's a bad look, man. It's bad.
I would say the one positive thing this year is they didn't trade away RJ Barrett to try to get Donovan Mitchell. They didn't do the Melo thing. Let's throw all of our young pieces to get one guy to win 40, 50 games.
So hold on, you didn't want Donovan Mitchell?
No, because you had to give up too much to get him. Like you had to give away RJ Barrett. They probably would have. I don't know if they wanted Mitchell, the tall kid. I forgot his name right now. It was basically going to be like the whole Carmelo Anthony issue. He wanted to leave Denver. We gave all of our young guys. He comes in. It's not enough to get over the hump. We win 50.
Yeah, but at least the Knicks were good with that. They made the playoffs. They were good. There was a buzz. Carmelo was that man. So, like, would you rather just think that your team is going to be good in a couple of years, or would you rather try to go for it now? The last time they were in the playoffs is when Melo was there, right?
Yeah, playoff team. But is it enough? If bringing Donovan Mitchell was enough to even get out the East, I don't think so. He's a great player. I don't know if he's not. All right. Melo, yeah, sure. We tried it. I think no one at the time thought it was a bad idea. I mean, he was one of the greatest scorers ever. Donovan Mitchell's a good player, but I don't know if he's on Melo's level at that time. Prime Melo was like, hey, let's trade the entire team to get him. Donovan, and I don't think so. And I think
hold on. I need you to put Hector's comment up right now. Let's put it on the screen. Just put the last one. Hector's
the last one.
So
Hector says, I think he's a Knicks fan. So, we all have our emotions. I mean, right now, in terms of the Knicks, Hector is probably a little horny for him. RJ Barrett is going to be one of the best Knicks of all time. He's 22 years old. He's 22 years old.
Can we bookmark and timestamp that Hector just said that? And what he could be one of the best of all. Man, that's a strong statement, Hector.
I mean, I would not bet anything on that, but
yeah, okay.
This last year was the first time that RJ looked, not saying he didn't look legit before, but at least all-star-ish level.
Yeah, he's not an all-star yet. I could name 10 point guards better than him right now. Probably 12 point guards better than RJ Barrett right now. So that's
he's not a point guard.
Statement. What is he, a 2 guard?
Yeah.
So I can name 10 2 guards
he's like
better
6'8".
No, he's a point guard. RJ Barrett's a point guard. Look it up. I feel like RJ Barrett's
why they brought the other guy in if he's the point guard? The other guy's much shorter.
You can have multiple guards. I mean, it's not like Maybe he's a 2, but I can name 15.
No, he's small
2
forward.
guards.
He's 6'6".
RJ Barrett plays small forward.
Yeah.
Right? He
This
played
last
point
season-
guard at Duke. He was a point guard.
Oh,
So
well.
I thought he was a point guard in the NBA.
Yeah. Last season, he scored 20 points, 5.8 rebounds, 3 assists.
That's good.
So he could be one. He has potential, and I think that's why I was happy that they didn't throw away. They didn't try to push him because there's no way they're going to keep RJ Barrett and get Donovan Mitchell. It was not happening.
No,
they
you're right.
wanted
You're right.
RJ Barrett.
You're right.
And I think that was a better idea to kind of keep him around. So, yeah, Nova thinks Hector's on drugs. Maybe. I am happy that they signed him for a long-term deal. We don't like. I remember I told you this before. The last free agent, the last player that the Knicks draft and re-signed was Charlie Ward.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Now, you guys may not know who Charlie Ward is, but he was a point guard for the Knicks. He actually was a football player, Heisman Trophy winner. Problem is, I guess he wasn't tall enough to play, which is funny now because if he came out,
he'd be fine. He played at Florida State. He was a fantastic football player. Yeah.
Yeah. And he was so good that I guess he didn't get enough traction with football because, again, it was, back then it wasn't much of the whole running quarterback. You need to be tall enough to see over the line. Yes. And Charlie wasn't that tall. So he was able to play basketball. And he played for the Knicks, had a pretty good career. He was a solid point guard, not a big star, but he was able to maintain himself. And that was the last rookie they re-signed for the next.
I mean,
so RJ Barrett's
what is that? That's got to be 20 years, 20, right? That's 25 years ago, man. That's a long time ago.
Tony, shout out to Tony. He has a Charlie Ward rookie card. How much money do you think that costs?
That's about $10 right now.
How dare you? How dare you?
Hold on. If I would challenge anybody in the chat right now, look up how much a Charlie Ward rookie card is. I'll take the under on $10. How about that?
Come on, it's a 20-some year card.
Look it up.
Price. I'm gonna look at price.
Somebody look it up, please, for Hannibal.
Tony's has a gold mine, and you're just hating.
Okay, gold mine. It's worth $11. All right, got it.
Is it all right? First of all, Tony, is it mint condition?
Yes. Is it rated? Do you have it in some kind of plastic or something? Or
oh Jesus. Okay, you do not want to see what eBay has, Tony.
What's it say? $2.
I could buy a 1994 Ultra 299 Charlie Ward New York Knicks rookie card.
Thank you.
Buy it now for $1.50.
You're welcome, Hannibal. I told you, bro. Come on.
I'm gonna show you guys right quick before we leave because I just want to look. I will show you guys. I just looked up on eBay.
And you thought I was lying when I said.
And the first one is buy now for $1.50.
$1.50.
But they got the Florida State for $1. He's Heisman.
Charlie Ward's. We know Charlie Ward, but he's not a draw in the card game. Come on, guys.
Well, actually, I have no idea about the card game. You gotta let me know.
$1.99. Yeah.
Oh, but Tony also has
now Tim Duncan. Let's look this one up. I'm gonna guess to see if I can get this one right as well.
Okay.
Tim Duncan rookie card. There's probably a couple. With rookie cards, there's usually one that's worth more than others based on production. Tim Duncan rookie right now. The top. Don't show it to me on the screen.
I'm gonna press into you.
I'm gonna say Tim Duncan rookie can go for $1,000.
$1,000? All right,
I'll say maybe under, but I could see a Tim Duncan prime minted rookie card going for $1,000.
Let's see. Ooh, why are they showing you? Okay, I don't think they have any Tim Duncan rookie cards on eBay.
That's weird.
Yeah, they don't have. I mean, they show. Okay. All right, this one is $5. Do you think
that's not accurate? There's no way.
Do you think? Well, there's certain types of memorabilia is cheaper now because of how certain things are kind of inflated a little bit or deflated. I'm not even sure.
I don't know. I know a lot of these the card games kind of took a hiatus. Now it's kind of back. And a lot of these, if you look at some of these like a Zion or a LaMelo Ball, like these cards are going for hundreds and up to thousands of dollars. Like it's crazy, the card game. So some of the older ones, I don't know, but I feel like Tim Duncan's got to be up there. He's a Hall of Fame. He's the best power forward of all time on some people's list. So it's got to be more than $5. That's crazy.
Yeah. I know a lot of people do have that collector card thing. I used to do it, and then I don't know where all those cards went. I had a binder with all the little stuff, with all the
Yeah,
players.
me too.
Probably didn't take care of it all that well, but you know,
Yeah.
that was like the real essence of enjoying sports. So I know we've been over an hour. This is a very special edition of the show on a Monday. The Giants lost. Was it 23 to 16? Yeah, 23 to 16.
Okay.
Football is not that fun anymore. Whatever. Like,
go Bears. Go Bears. Go Bears.
Well, yeah. So now our teams are both 2 wins, 1 loss. We'll see how far it goes.
Hey, that's not bad. Let's not. I mean, 2-1 is good.
I'm surprised
right now. Yeah, that's.
Yeah,
I'm happy with.
thought,
I'm happy
yeah.
with 2-1. I'm not going to complain.
Yeah.
We could be like the Washington Commanders. Like, what are they? 1-3, 1-2, or something like that. I don't know.
They got destroyed yesterday.
Yeah,
it was
Wentz,
a bloodbath. Yeah. So we both agree. Yes, they suck. On that note, we'll be back in 2 days. Actually.
Yes. Do you want to talk about what we're going to be doing? Adding maybe a stream here or there.
Oh yeah. You know what? You announced it. Go ahead.
Okay, so you guys know we go live on Wednesdays. We appreciate all of you guys that come in. The Novas, Hector. We see Tony in here. We see the Gig. We see a lot of a lot of familiar names in here, and we're going to be adding a live show for you guys, a weekend edition, talking about similar topics, but then also getting more into some of the relational stuff, relationships, and what's going on, and sharing our experiences, talking about hot topics in relationships and things like that. So we're going to add a second show for you guys. So please continue to like and share the content. Thumbs up when you can. We really appreciate it. The channel, the podcast is growing. We're going to continue to give you guys content, and we're going to add another night. So just be on the lookout for that.
Yeah, I'm extremely excited. So as you heard from Pedro, an extra show a week. So it'll be 2 lives every week. We see the potential in this. We just have fun. We spend majority of our content creation about this one topic, the other topic, and we, want to break sometimes. So we want to talk about, Applebee's love. 2 people in Applebee's making, having some kind of. I'd rather talk about that than the other things,
making special sauce in the back room. Yeah.
Yes, but oh Jesus, that's just gross. Gross. So I'd rather talk about Charlie Ward rookie cards because that's more interesting at the moment. So I think we're gonna come back to this topic with email. I'm sure there can be more information coming out, and we're gonna be talking. I mean, the NBA season is coming around. It's coming around, and we're gonna see how well the Celtics are going to handle all of this. I would not want to be a player being asked every damn press conference, do you guys still have communication suite? No, we can't. He's suspended. He's not coaching the team. Can we move on to the next? It won't. This won't happen. It's going to be a cloud over their season. And, it is what it is. But I'm sure we'll come back to this topic.
Shout out real quick to drivenonmama.com. Shout out to you. I see you in the gig world. I'm glad to see you over here. Appreciate you stopping in tonight. Yeah,
definitely. And we'll be back Wednesday, 10 o'clock Eastern. Yeah. I'm sure there's other stuff we're going to talk about. It's so many different topics coming. I know we had 20 minutes last week talking about chess, cheating scandals. So we're talking about all types of cheating around here. And different ways of cheating, that was a weird. Did you listen to that episode? It was fun. We have a good time here. I think that's why you guys like coming in. We have topics, but we're not scripted, and it's just me talking to my friend Hannibal, and we talk about what's going on and passions that we have, and it makes for a fun show every time. So I enjoy this. Yeah. Well, Dash of Poppy baseball. You know what? Well, Pedro will leave that conversation next week. Maybe we'll talk about some baseball.
I mean, Pujols. We can talk about Aaron Judge. That would be. We could definitely talk about that. I got a lot to say about both
sliders, right? Yeah. That's a pitch, right? A slider. Knuckleball. And you can tell I'm very, very knowledgeable about baseball.
I'll carry us on that.
You can carry me. I mean, if the and it's funny thing, I'm such a fraud. If the Yankees won, they have a celebration. I'm out. I'm outside. I'm going to go outside. I'm going to enjoy.
Oh, that's going to be awesome, man. Yeah.
Yeah. I doubt that happened, but we won't know. We'll know in a few weeks. But on that note, guys, thank you for hanging out with us on a late. Now we're in Tuesday.
Yeah.
Appreciate you guys for coming in, and we'll be back in about 2 days. So enjoy the rest of your night, guys.
See you.
Peace.